Hey guys, so I'm going to wait for a few people to get in chat. I was just watching one of my friends on YouTube about the Riley Strain case, and we've got breaking news coming in on this. And this case is not closed, and I know that many of us have been very concerned about this case. So those that are just tuning in, watching the Riley Strain case, you guys might want to stay tuned. I'm going to read this statement. This was provided by Nick Bears with NC5 in the area, and he's stating, he posted this about 32 minutes ago on Facebook, and he says, case is not closed. Significant new developments in the investigation into the death of Riley Strain. To date, authorities say there appears to be no signs of foul play. But Strain's family friend says parents ordered a second autopsy and that they have questions about what happened to some of their son's clothing. This case remains open, and now a world-renowned expert in body decomposition questions what happened to Riley. Holy smokes. This case is not closed, y'all. However, please confirm when his body was found that Riley still had his shirt and Apple Watch on his wrist. So do articles of clothing typically come off drowning victims? I sought the opinion of my friend, Dr. Bill Bass, and he says it's unusual. Normally, if you fall into a river, it's very difficult to get your pants off, says Dr. Bass, who's the founder of the University of Tennessee's famed Body Farm. I'm sure everybody is aware of that. One of the foremost experts in the world on body decomp. Dr. Bass said it's possible, but unlikely that pants and boots come off in the river current. Wow. No, they were not. They would not come off by themselves. He said debris could have snagged on the clothes, or had another theory. I would say somebody took them off, Bass said. If you do research on this, it would be very difficult because you've got to kill a person to do it. But it's difficult to get your pants off. It's difficult when you're alive to get your pants off. So the question, how did the pants and boots come off the body? And this says, News Channel 5 spoke with Riley's stepdad, Chris Whittled. I can't pronounce the name, who said he didn't want to comment now about the second autopsy since the family is focused on Riley's funeral on Friday. But he did say they have big things to share next week. Authorities are still awaiting toxicology test results to complete the final autopsy report. Riley Strain, a student at the University of Missouri, came to Nashville for fraternity brothers and disappeared from a downtown bar more than 2 weeks ago. His remains were recovered from the Cumberland River on Friday. Clearly, case not closed. What do you think? Me personally, I'm like, whoo. You know, I had something just didn't add up with this case. It just didn't. I mean, everything. I think that's what I think we in the true crime, for whatever reason, we're just attracted to stuff that just stinks to high heaven. I just think that we have the knack for this stuff because there were so many people that just had problems with everything related to Riley Strain. Everything. Nobody could understand why they couldn't find him if he was right there. And so it's like, and then we find out he's down the river. Everybody's trying to justify our nagging suspicions in our gut. And then we start trying to justify it ourselves when we just know that this stinks to high heaven. Something ain't right. And here we go right now. It looks like something ain't right. So if you were feeling that about the Riley Strain case, if you had this nagging feeling that just it wasn't feeling right, that this whole, foul play thing, this is starting to really give that some credibility right now, because I'm telling you, it's been nagging at me. And I've been praying that it's not, because I wouldn't want this man to have, his final days to be met with violence. So, me personally, now that we know his result, like I truly hope that this man, didn't even know what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, versus having fear or pain or anything like that. And then we're hearing this. And you know what? I kept saying the one thing that's bothering me is that darn debit card. That debit card, it's out of place. It doesn't match with anything. It doesn't match with the evidence. People were trying to justify that debit card by saying he had thrown up on himself and took his shirt off. Well, you know what? The crazy thing is the only thing that was left on that man was the shirt that we all thought was on the homeless man. It was not. And we did confirm that he did have his boxers on. His boxers didn't come off. I didn't know if he had tighty whities or boxers or, kind of letting everything kind of go wild, I wasn't sure about his, his grooming techniques or his undergarment techniques. I didn't know. But we do know. So now I'm thinking, boxers would be easier to come off than a pair of jeans. So if his boxers are still on him, how did his jeans get off? And where the heck are his boots? And this doctor is saying no. And you know what? Now that you're thinking about it, think about it. When the hell have we ever been able to pull a pair of jeans off that are soaking wet? I know now that I'm thinking about it, I've been pushed into streams, fallen into streams. And I tell you, one of the hardest things to do is to get a pair of wet jeans off of me. And it didn't dawn on me when we were talking about floating jeans and stuff like that. I was with it, the current. I even said I can justify it with the current. But this doctor's saying that is the current couldn't take it off. The only thing that would help take it off is if it got caught up on something. That's basically the only theory this doctor comes up with. So for those that are just coming in, there is some major news coming out in the Riley Strain case. They went for that second autopsy with they said it's a world-renowned expert in body decomp. And now they're questioning what happened to Riley Strain. This is huge news, guys. They're saying that this doctor, so this is not the doctor that's saying this. What happened is the renowned doctor saying they need to look into this a little bit further because things aren't adding up. And so this particular investigative reporter reached out to one of his friends, Dr. Bill Bass, which runs the Tennessee famed body farm, the University of Tennessee's famed body farm. And Dr. Bill Bass is saying, wait a minute, these clothes just don't come off easy. It's very difficult to take jeans off from in the water. So that basically he's saying whatever he went into the water with on should have been on him when they found him. So now, where did his pants go? Where did his boots go? And why is his license in a weird spot on the banks where people are having thanks pack, that people are having to, scale down the side of the mountain to get to? How did all this happen? Well, guys, those lingering feelings we had deep inside of our core saying something smells wrong in this case, you were right. You were right. Something is seriously wrong. And a world-renowned expert is questioning it now. It's nice to see you guys. Oh, our beautiful Sonia's up in the house. It's nice to see you. Hopefully you're a mod. I don't know how to mod people anymore. I don't know. Oh, something is up with those scooters. Yeah. Oh, yes. Those scooters in the road. Yes. Leather boots would tighten in the water. Correct. See, now all these things are kind of coming because I was like, I can justify the clothes coming off, with the drift and the current of the water, maybe just shimmying them down the body. But this person's saying no, that it's just the opposite. It's harder to take off. So this boy is in the water with no water in his lungs and missing his boots and his breeches and his wallet, and his credit card winds up far away from him. And no justification on how those TikTokers were able to find that card. Something more is going on here, and even the people in and around the Riley Strain family, They're not conspiracy theories. They don't want like a crime drama or anything like that. They're just saying, wait a minute, things aren't adding up here. We need to know what's going on. And this passing the buck and just keep saying nothing's happening, nothing to see over here, ain't sitting right with the family. And we can all understand that. It's not sitting right with the family. And now we have a doctor that has a body farm and a world-renowned expert in body decomp saying, we need to question this. So stick around. We're going to be doing updates on this. I'm tuned into this case. Something just didn't seem right with it. It doesn't mean that there's still any foul play here. There could be a plausible explanation. I'm not getting too excited about this information just yet. But you know what? At least the questions that I've had are finally going to be answered. At least I hope. This is not just going to be shoveled under the rug and his family's just going to, take that he just fell in the water and lost his life with no water in his lungs. They are asking the questions. They are doing what it takes. I got questions. Any updates? Just ask the questions and say, oh, you're just making the statement. I got questions. Yeah, I think we all do. He was robbed for sure. It's starting to sound like that. Like I said, he was like, and I don't mean this in a horrible, bad way, but he was like Big Bird out there. You know how when we are, for those that are old as dirt like me, probably grew up on Sesame Street. Okay, I did. I will admit it here live that I grew up on Sesame Street. And Big Bird was like the tallest one in the bunch. And this guy was like, what was he? He was between 6'5" and 6'7". It was like a massive, thin guy, right? And he was really, really intoxicated. So he kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, kind of like Big Bird. So that's why I'm not making fun of him in the least bit or anything like that. But it's just for emphasis, he stuck out like a sore thumb out there, and he was going into a really, really bad part of Nashville. And this is where, harsh substances are being used. People aren't sleeping. People are, doing things in the bushes that would make, people blush. I mean, this is the area that he was walking into, being this target. This massive target. Because like I said, he was like Big Bird. He was like this screaming yellow bird walking down the road. He was that noticeable. And people with bad intentions are going to look right at that and gravitate right to it because it's easy prey. And I don't want to think about that, and I have been praying very, 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 very hard that this boy did not meet violence. And I'm still praying that, there is a plausible explanation for all of this. But you know what? That gut, it's been screaming. It's been screaming since this case started. Something just didn't make sense because he should have been right stinking there. And he wasn't. And yeah, 14 days later, he's 8 miles up the river. But we got to remember, they started those water searches like day 2 or day 3. Like, how did he get so far out of the radius at that point in time? Something just never made sense with this case. He should have been right there, and they couldn't find him for 2 weeks. It just doesn't make sense. It's never made sense. But again, we don't know. All I can tell you is that it appears there may be more to this story. And if there is more to this story, that means the family's going to need more love and support from the community. Because this is hard enough right now for them. Dealing with this being just an accident. If this turns into something where there's really foul play involved, that is going to even be more devastating, not just to his family, but even more devastating to his friends. And I know a lot of people are angry with them because, somebody should have been with them. But, they're young. We can't expect them not to make stupid decisions. And we pray to God that our kids and everybody around them doesn't make a stupid decision that will cost somebody their life. But each and every day, we all get in our vehicles. We all drive somewhere. We could literally accidentally run a red light and take somebody out. And it's a complete accident. So these boys, in my opinion, unless they're involved, which I don't believe that at all, but if this does start pointing that way, you know, there are going to be people that need to be looked at, period, no matter how we look at this. And, but it's going to be more traumatic on everybody involved, even those young kids that were out there with them. Whether you guys like them or not, and whether you guys are angry with them or not, we can be angry with them, but we also have to think of their mental health and their future, you know? And who was talking to him on the phone? Yes, people did hear. But you know what? Some of the stuff out there was really sketch. Like even the shirt, his shirt, you know, we have to take that into consideration when we're hearing these stories. We can't just assume that what we're hearing is 100%. Even the people that tell us, you know, with all good intention, may have misunderstood something. And that misunderstanding can really snowball and snowball quickly. He had no trauma to his head. It looked like he did. And we know he hit his head. I mean, we clearly saw him hit his head, and we clearly saw him hold his head. So, I mean, I'm interested in learning more about that, but there's no point in us trying to assume this because it could literally be so many ways because they haven't talked about those things. There are drowning victims that don't have water in their lungs. Yes, that is true, deranged. There are, but it's very, very low. This is the dry drowning aspect of it is a rare phenomenon. Does it happen? Yes, it does. We all know it does. We've heard about it before. This is not our first time. Many people talked about it. At least the first time I learned about it was with the Summerwells case. I don't think I've ever heard about dry drowning, or may have heard about it but didn't understand it really until the Summerwells case. Now, this is the second time, the second case I've ever heard of the dry drowning being a possibility. So, yes, it is possible, but so very rare that it really needs to be the cause of last resort. And I have to think that there's got to be more to prove that it was dry drowning than just there's no water in the lungs and he was found in the water, you know? So I'd like to know how they, you know, we know how they explained it. You know, the dry drowning, about how it constricts the throat and stuff, like it's like a throat spasm. We know how they've explained what dry drowning is, but how can they prove that that's what happened to him? And that's where my question lies. And I'm sure it has to be provable. One of the people from this morning had said something to the effect of that it might have been stated that way because everything else was excluded, if that makes sense. And I thought that made sense. So that might be a possibility as well, but I truly do not know one way or the other. Hold on, this thing just popped up on me. I'm so far behind. No head injury, falling asleep. I thought it was up a little further. I have to miss some of your guys' comments. I'm sorry. I can't find the ones I was looking at. What is the story with the Facebook groups you have on your Oh, this is just because I like the background, and not only that, this is one of the groups that are for Riley strain. But you know, I like the background because you guys get to see what I'm talking about. So that's kind of what it is. He didn't drown. Penny, yeah, I think that's what we're kind of seeing. To say no head injury after seeing him fall is insane. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No marks. I mean, he looked like he hit hard. I mean, I would think that, because think about it. No, I just spit on myself. Just a little bit. And then when this goes downloaded on YouTube, they're going to laugh at me. That's okay. But think about it. Every time, I don't know, like I don't really drink anymore. Like occasionally I'll have a drink, maybe a drink or two, but it's very, very rare. I can't remember the last time. I think the last time I had a cocktail was like last year sometime. So, but just think about it. when I used to drink a lot, I'd go out and I would tie one on, okay? Be about as drunk as Riley, as embarrassing as that is. I was once his age, right? We all were. We woke up with massive bruises, right? Like, we wouldn't even know where they came from. They wouldn't really hurt. They were just kind of there. So I'm kind of applying this when I say that when he fell, he had to have bruised his arm, his head. Like, I would have to think there was a lump somewhere on his head, because you bruise easily because your blood's so much thinner. So it seems like he would have had some abrasions, like even on his arms, just like, scratches, like skinned knee, but skinned arm. From the fall, at least a little road rash, I would think, think about it. Like, and I'm not trying to make him sound like a kid, but think about, because most of you guys could probably have kids, and you guys remember when they fell and skinned their knee, and it would hurt. But he planted pretty hard on concrete, and he's much, much heavier than a young kid. So I have to think he got some road rash from that. Something. I just can't, I can't imagine that he went unscathed, especially after walking and holding his head right after that. I heard the same thing. What about fell asleep in the water? Something happened. But it's still like, even if he fell asleep, he would have been breathing until, and he would have breathed it in. And they're saying he didn't breathe it in. I don't know. This case has just been weird from day one. It's just been a perplexing puzzle from literally day one, because it was just the craziest thing, because you follow him, like he's on every single camera, and then boom, he's off the camera, and nobody sees this man again. That implies that he's literally right there. But when all in the entire world goes and searches right there, he's nowhere to be found. And he's nowhere to be found for miles? This can't be. This just can't be. I don't know. I'm tired of guessing. As a friend, Riley's toxicology is being performed. He had more than one drink at the bars. Yeah, I believe he probably did. He looked like he did. The scooter drivers need to come forward. That is so suspicious. Yeah, it's just something happened. Something happened. And you're right. Really, if we go back through there and the stuff right after that, really all you see is those scooters. There was some movement over in that building. We couldn't see it, but it looked like a guy with a white shirt. But now that we know that Riley's shirt was on him and he was not in a t-shirt, it kind of excludes, I guess in my mind, that whole weird thing across the street from that building where they had a guy and another guy and stuff like that. But it was right there at that bridge where that last camera, it was a half block radius. I just want to make sure people understand. He disappeared he didn't make it to the next camera, which was only a half block away. Okay? He disappeared in a 6-minute window. Remember, we talked about that extensively here, about how it was a half block radius and a 6-minute window. I have done this for a really long time. I've covered many cases. I have never in my life had that close of a timeline, that small of a window, and that small of a radius, and the person not be right there. That was what was so perplexing to me. That is what made me really feel that there was more involved in this case. I am not a conspiracy theorist, guys. If you don't believe me, go through my channel and you go through all of my videos. Trust me, I do not do conspiracy theories. I like information, I like facts, but just something wasn't sitting right with me in this case. Now, does it mean that this is foul play? In my opinion, at this point, it still does not, in my opinion, mean foul play. I still feel it's foul play, but based on what we know so far, I don't think it makes that leap just yet. Someone said that he was found west Nashville, but the river doesn't flow west. I know he was down. Oh, No, I know he was downriver. He was downriver. He was the way the river was flowing, from my understanding, because he was up and around where they found him, about 8 miles. Again, 8 miles away. I don't know. I wasn't out there. It makes it. Oh, are you in Nashville yet? We need you here with your Bullhorn. I know. Well, this is what it is, Justin. It's my car. I don't have a car. It was in the shop. I was supposed to have it back last Friday, and then they tell me Monday, and then when I called Monday, they said Wednesday, and then today they call me and tell me that the part that I was getting rebuilt couldn't be rebuilt. So now I've got another 3 to 5 days for the part to come in. And I'm just like, I've been without a car almost a month over the stupid ABS thing. So I'm trying to get there literally as quickly as humanly possible. But I also have a court hearing on April 17th in Illinois for a defamation thing that I'm suing somebody over. I don't want to go through it because it's, I'm in litigation, but I'm trying to get there. And so I don't know, because I'm flying out of here the 16th. So I don't know, Justin. Can you reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and you can put, if you feel comfortable, put your number there, and I can call you after this live is over and just chat with you and just maybe coordinate with you. But I don't have a problem doing whatever needs to be done. But I would like to talk to you anyways about everything that's going on out there. So you do? Okay. Well then, just give me a little bit, and then I will, or just reach out to me once this is over, and, we'll chat. So awesome. I'm glad you have my number. We must have talked once before. We definitely don't talk enough. So, thank you for that, Justin. Thank you. Yeah, we'll figure something out. They need to match us. The people on the speakerphone robbed. But who was on the speakerphone? But if it was on the speakerphone, that means they have his information. But listen, this is the kicker. I think that when we talked about this before, in all reality, I'm pretty sure I remember hearing the family say that they believe it was one of the guys from the fraternity or the guys from the fraternity. And I don't want to spread gossip or rumors or anything like that, but there's just something that I remember seeing in an interview with the father. And I think, if I recall, I remember something like that coming up related to the calls, because I remember it was a contentious not contentious, I guess that's a strong word to use, but it was an issue that was raised around people hearing him on the phone with somebody. And I think that they even said that they confirmed that, and they believed it was, either, I can't remember, but I thought they said the fraternity. I don't want to say rumors with not knowing, but somebody heard something. That's all I'll say. And it does seem a little odd. So, perfect. Okay. I'll wait for your call, Justin. Thank you so much. I'm glad I don't know how you were able to pin those. That was kind of cool. I gotta be honest with you. If it wasn't pinned up there, I wouldn't have seen it. So, yeah, that was kind of cool. I'm like, oh wait, there's a message here. Where did that come from? I'm not a techie person. You guys can't laugh at me, okay? I'm really not a techie person. So, and I don't know how to use TikTok other than to go live or to get a video on here. And I don't even know half the effects. I bet you I could really do some damage. I'd probably make you guys feel like you're on a roller coaster ride if I even tried even a minimal of effects in my videos. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. The Riley case, it's not going anywhere, guys. Stuff is going on in this case. You're going to want to start tuning in because something's going on. It's stinking to high heaven. It's stinking to high heaven in Nashville. So we'll see you soon. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Take care and God bless.